From ABC News, World Headquarters, this is ABC World News.
Thanks for watching ABC World News. Today's date is May 15th, 1970, 74 degrees and 0 chance of rain, another perfect day. As we know, the civil rights movement has come to the end and generated a huge impact on our society. And today we will do a newscast based on this impactful movement, talking about its historical background and impact. First, we are going to cover a brief historical timeline of the civil rights movements and introducing several key figures and legislations. According to teachingamericanhistory.org, started in 1896, the Jim Crow law, which stated separate but equal, began. In 1954, the Brown versus Board of Education case strikes down segregation as unconstitutional. In 1955, Rosa Parks was arrested and started the Montgomery bus boycott. Martin Luther King Jr. played a significant role, led many of these nonviolent protests, including the sit-ins through the year 1958 to 1960s, the Freedom Rides 1961, the Birmingham Campaign 1963, and the Freedom Summer 1964. In contrast, Malcolm X argued for a more violent defense. In response to the protest, the House passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Next, we'll talk about three main goals of civil rights movement. The first goal of it was desegregating public facilities. Let's contact our field reporter Jack He to see what was happening outside this day.
All right, everyone. Now I am in one of the public buses in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955. As you can see, there are nearly no one in this bus because African Americans, they were organizing a massive boycott led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The peaceful boycott continued for 381 days, causing the bus companies unable to function. And finally, the local government agreed to integrate buses, signifying a huge success in desegregating public facilities.
Thank you, Jack. Besides the boycott, the freedom rights setting and the protests during the civil rights movement also certainly contributed to the passing of Civil Rights Act of 1964, which resulted in legal desegregation in public accommodations and facilities. The second major goal of civil rights movement was gaining voting rights. Let's take a look and see what tactic is used for this goal.
Alright, now I am in one of the freedom schools established during the Freedom Summer in 1964. As we can see, there are many books here that are used to teach literacy. The freedom schools have made many African Americans able to vote, gaining much more voting rights for the black people.
As a result, in 1964, the 21st Amendment prohibited the use of poll taxes. In 1965, the Voting Rights Act prohibited the states from using literacy tests and other way of excluding African Americans from voting. Another major goal would be desegregating education. Early in 1950s, a lawsuit Brown versus Board of Education was held in U.S. Supreme Court in 1954, and it decided that school segregation was unconstitutional, but the segregationists challenged this decision by intimidating them and holding police to prevent students from entering schools.
Right now, I am standing in front of Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas. After the Supreme Court outlawed the segregation of education, many black students, including the Little Rock Nine, went to all white schools. When the Little Rock Nine reached Central High School, they were blocked by the guards in front of the gate. Right there. However, those kids were not afraid. With the help from President Eisenhower, those kids finally entered the school, and some of them even graduated, forecasting the formal desegregation of education in America.
Although the process of desegregating school was very slow, more and more black students entered segregated school and started receiving high-quality education.
The civil rights movement are generating an upheaval in American society, and we can still see its impact even after decades. It is said that there is even a modern civil rights movement ongoing in the 21st century. Let's have two reporters from United States in 2018 online with us and check that out.
Thanks to the folks from 1970. Today's date is May 15th, 2018. 75 degrees, 25% chance of rain. Still another perfect day. Even though the civil rights movement has ended for decades, it's still causing a great impact on modern society. African American social movements are still prominent to this day. The goals of their organizations and groups are still to promote equality and fair treatment of African Americans among the white community. We chose to elaborate on three particular organizations today.
According to Curly Peterson Smith from the International Socialist Review, the purpose of the Black Lives Matter movement is to rally against racist police violence. Black Lives Matter was created in response to George Zimmerman not being arrested or charged for murdering Trayvon Martin. Zimmerman claimed that he was the one yelling for help, and the police said that there was no evidence to dispute his claim. The next one is My Brother's Keeper. Former President Obama created this organization to address the opportunity gaps young men of color face. This organization ensures that all youth can reach their full potential. And the last one is Black Alliance for Just Immigration. According to Philanthropy News Digest, it was created to strengthen the national movement to end racism and economic disenfranchisement of African American immigrant communities.
Now we're going to connect the historical to the modern society. Though it is the 21st century and acceptance is more prominent than it was in the 1960s, there are still reasons why African Americans continuously fight for just and equal treatment. Yes, bathrooms, buses, and just about every public space imaginable are integrated between the races. Yet still there is mistreatment and discrimination within the law that still makes itself known. Racist police violence is a major problem society deals with, though the violence is handled differently than it was in the past. In today's day and age, police violence usually ends in an arrest or death of the suspect, rather than arresting a large group of people or torturing them with police dogs and water hoses. Confrontation has not changed between the races throughout the years. When there's a discrepancy between the races, it is certainly made known. As the Black Lives Matter movement began with the killing of African-American teen Trayvon Martin, this sparked a revolution and recognized that enough was enough. I correlated this to Rosa Parks' refusal to give up her seat. No, she was not killed, but she was the turning point and the last straw for the segregation that they faced. The civil rights movement wanted action, and today, African Americans still seek the justice that they so badly want.
Thank you for watching AMC World News. We'll see you next time.